Hi, I'm Pox.
I'm Ponzu.
You're watching the Two Smart Guys show, where every week we bring you the latest tech news, mods, hacks, and just general tech advice.
Today, we're going to be building a computer virtually and why it's going to be the parts that are in it.
Yeah, we're building the ultimate epic gaming, more adjectives, rig.
Future-proof gaming rig.
Yeah, if there is such a thing.
Results may vary.
So what do you think? What should we start with? What kind of components do you need to buy if you're going to build this epic gaming rig?
Well, first you need to pick your poison, in a sense. Are you going to be on AMD's chipset, or are you going to be on the Intel chipset? And that's kind of a touchy subject there.
Yeah, your CPU is a big decision because you got to decide which one you're going to get because the motherboards don't work with both, or most of them don't. I guess there's a couple out there, which is really weird. Have you read about those ones?
No.
Anyways, we're not even going to get into that. If you're going by the megahertz game, you get more bang for your buck on the AMD side. That being said, the actual real-world performance, Intel just smokes AMD every time.
And
per megahertz.
End user support, Intel again. So if you want to enjoy your computer without being a computer tech, you might want to stick to AMD. Intel, my bad. Don't quote me on that.
Now, I personally like Intels, but I know some friends that have AMDs, and they swear that they are the best. So.
But I heard you can't make a Hackintosh with an AMD.
It's not as easy. Never say never. You can be done. It's just not as easy.
And it's not really
stable.
So another thing is, decide what you're going to use your computer for before you build it, and go from there. Because if you're trying to build an awesome Hackintosh for video editing and stuff, you don't want to go buy a bunch of AMD parts because you like AMD's logo.
Or you like Texas.
Yeah. But all right, well let's talk about some benchmarks and some price points, because there is a pretty big gap between the price difference of AMD and Intel.
Okay. All right.
All right. So AMD's more for, I don't know, I'd say.
They really are going for gaming enthusiasts, though. So it's like kind of.
Yeah, it's.
Or really cheap computers.
Yeah, their price point is good, but it's gonna suffer in the end.
And what is their top of the line? Are you looking at the top of the line one right there?
Yeah, this is the new FX2 Plus.
So it's like $190.
Yeah, and it's the A10, which is pretty much the equivalency of the i7 in theory.
It's 3.7 gigs. How many cores
3.7
is it? 6 gig or 6?
I think this one is. Let's do some research real quick.
So I remember they have more cores, but they don't have hyper-threading like the Intel ones do they?
And they also have a higher wattage.
There's four CPU cores, 8 GPU cores, because they're building in the graphics card into the CPU,
which is awesome.
Because they bought ATI.
Yeah. So Radon. We'll get to that in a minute. That's a whole nother ball game there.
For the best bang for your buck, if you're not going to go Hackintosh, AMD may be the way to go if you don't got a lot of cash.
So there's like 3 levels of building an epic gaming rig. You can go build an epic gaming rig on a budget that's only going to be up to date for 2 years, and you could probably get away with it for under $700.
Yeah.
But if you're going for high-end, future-proof...
Yeah, we're going to go high-end. What's the best thing we can buy?
All right, the i7 Haswell processor.
There we go. Now we're talking.
So let's, it's 1150, right? Yep. 1150 chipset. Well, I guess we're only running one screen, huh?
Oh. I'm not showing your screen. I'm not showing anything because we don't have it plugged in. If you want to show it, plug it in. Right there.
Oh, yeah. All right, so here we go with the i7 4770K. 4770K, my bad. All right, so this is what, a 6-core processor with Turbo Boost technology and 1 GPU core?
You running 1080i?
I think I might be.
It looks really small. Can you go to 720? I'm going to check the comments. If you're watching this, this is a live show. We are checking comments. Please comment below.
We will answer any computer-based...
Start your flame war on, how AMD is so much better than Intel and vice versa.
We want to hear it. We want to hear your reasoning behind it as well.
I started doing Hackintoshes and I basically gave up on AMD. I haven't kept up myself with how AMD is doing lately. But I always see like Tom's Hardware and the benchmarks, and every time Intel's just smoking the AMD. So
I used to be an AMD fan because of the price point, and I was poor.
The last one I built was what was it? It was an AMD dual core system. What were they called back then? I can't even remember.
The Phenom 2x4.
I think it was even before that. It might have been a Phenom. Yeah. It was a pretty good rig.
Yep.
I think I even made a Hackintosh out of it. It was pretty good. But
I've actually got a Hackintosh to run off the Phenom 2x6, but it wasn't stable. I had to kind of make some critical adjustments. Could have not ended well. Luckily for me, they did. All right, so one of the biggest things is if you were an overclocker, a lot of people, I don't know, the 84 watts versus the 95 watts.
That's a lot of power, really. I mean, when you're thinking about it, I mean, like our Ubiquiti here uses 8 watts. It's just the CPU alone is going to use up to 84.
That's just the base. You can go higher if you know what you're doing, but I don't recommend it or just watch one of the videos.
I want to cook an egg on a processor. We gotta do that. That'll get some views.
Let's go get my computer.
We'll we'll put a little plate on the heatsink, and I got some chickens in the backyard. Just.
All right, so I want to check out some specs on the i7.
Did you switch your resolution?
Yeah, I'm at 720 now.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Oh yeah, 720. Why isn't it working? Oh, there it is. Oh, you're at 50 hertz.
Oh.
That's fine. It works. It's weird.
Okay, so it's quad core. We got 8 threads, 3.5 clock speed. Max turbo would be 3.9 without liquid cooling.
Yeah, the motherboard would let you go up to 4, won't it?
Yeah, mine's running at 4.2 right now.
4.2.
Stably liquid cooled.
Yours is liquid cooled?
Yeah. I couldn't get it cool enough with a normal heatsink.
Huh. All right, so what else?
All right, so 64-bit.
Can you get anything that's not 64-bit anymore?
Linux.
Last thing was left was the Atom processors for Intel. They're the only thing holding everybody back from being all 64-bit everything. And I think the latest ones are all 64-bit finally. There should be no reason anybody should be running 32-bit anything, including iPhones.
All right, so now that we've picked our processor and we're going with the i7, now comes the fun, complicated part of every computer build, the motherboard. There's a motherboard for every situation in the world.
Is there?
Well, you got everything from the Raspberry to the
Yeah, I was trying to fit one of those processors on a Raspberry Pi.
I don't think it could be done, but it might be able to, like, if you're really good, I guess. So, I don't know, what's your favorite motherboard brand?
I like the Gigabyte. They work for Hackintoshes.
I like the Asus, but it also works for Hackintoshes. And then MSI makes a really nice gaming motherboard. And
I think this is an MSI. This that we're streaming off of right now is an MSI.
And MSI has the new 97, the Z97s. Well, so does Gigabyte and everybody else, but it's the newest.
The chipset.
Chipset. So most of these, I think, have the integrated AC wireless card, and they're all
okay.
SLI compatible.
Nice.
And Crossfire compatible, I think. Let me double check that. I think what's it called? The MSI one. So this is the one I was kind of interested in, was the MSI Z97 gaming motherboard.
Yeah, okay.
And it's the Haswell chipset. It's a 1150, and it looks awesome. Let's get a couple pictures of this. There is one problem with it,
What's that?
and that's the AC wireless. This is one of the only new motherboards that doesn't have an integrated wireless card.
Oh.
It's running on the Haswell.
On my desktop, I could care less. I'm gonna run me some Ethernet cable for gigabit. I know you can kind of almost do it on wireless, but
You're like, what, 750 megs? Full duplex?
yeah, but it's a shared bandwidth. It'll never be as good as a switched 100 gigabit or 100 gigabit.
It will
1
be
gig.
if your computer's across the room from
Where's
your
our
router.
10 gig? I know they have 10 gig copper. Why don't they have it on motherboards yet?
That's a good question, really.
I mean, other than the fact that the cards are $500.
Like, what's your take on the? You see the network adapter here is a killer, right?
What? Killer.
From the networking guys, they build. It's a brand of
Oh.
networking card.
Oh yeah. Those are didn't they have? They were supposed to say lower latency.
Yeah.
You know, higher
No lag.
less ping or yeah. That's cool because they have a hardware acceleration on the actual Ethernet controller. So instead of using your CPU for the Ethernet traffic, it's got a controller that does the processing. It makes sense. It's a really good idea. Just I don't know, when you got a really powerful CPU, is it really going to be that much faster?
Check it out. They finally got rid of the 3 gigabits per second SATA ports.
Oh,
There's
so it's
none. It is all 6 gig or gigabit per second.
Nice. So this is the one that we're going to use?
It's this one or the gigabit Z97.
Okay.
So
Does this have DisplayPort?
it doesn't. Oh wait, it might. It
Or
has
Thunder-
big display port.
It has DisplayPort, but it doesn't have.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Thunderbolt.
It does have dual HDMI.
That's cool.
That's way cool. And it's got an integrated 1.5 gig video card.
Huh.
Which also, it's only 512 if you're running the i5 or lower.
Oh, okay.
So, if you decide to go with the i5 processor, you're gonna have a lower onboard graphics card. But we really don't care about that because we're gonna put a big graphics card in.
Yeah. Okay.
So none of these ports even matter to us right here in this little line. All right, let's check out the gigabit one now. So should we go with the gigabit OC or the gigabit gaming, more than likely?
Probably. All right. So this machine, this is the ultimate gaming rig. So we want to.
Ooh, pretty eyeball. Okay, so we have the Z97X gaming. We have the G1 Sniper and the GA Z97X SLI. Can you guess which one we're going to go with?
SSD drives with up to 10 gigabit data transfer? Holy crap. Well, yeah, we're going with the... Oh, wait, what was the top one again?
The gaming.
The gaming. Oh, that doesn't sound as cool as the sniper.
Right. I don't know why they got to put the SLI on the... They all have SLI on them. It's a gigabyte bit.
Huh.
And look at... We have a killer network card on this one as well.
That's cool. How do they work on Hackintoshes? Do they have drivers?
They don't. Not. They have patches.
Oh, okay.
But,
so you got to do a kernel extension or whatever?
Yeah. Well, you got to text edit your kernel.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It's not the best, but it's not too difficult. You can really find a YouTube video and copy paste.
They haven't built it into that Linux driver one?
I think there is a Linux
Because there's that
driver.
There's that generic Linux adapter driver that you just run on like Tony Mac, and it does like almost any network card.
Oh, KexBeast?
No, it's something else, but it's like Net for Linux or Network for Linux or something like that.
This motherboard kind of disappoints me in a way.
Why?
Because in my personal opinion, VGA is dead.
Oh, there's a VGA port on it? Why do they bother putting analog components on a computer anymore?
I have no idea. I could see if it was a serial, like.
Oh, a serial port?
But it's not.
Even that's stupid. You can get
Like you could
serial
parallels
USB adapters.
or throw a Thunderbolt port on it.
What the hell? Does it have PS2 ports on there?
Yeah, yes it does.
You guys are weird. Where's the floppy disk? Is there a floppy disk cable on there? I bet there is. Look at the top view.
ID, come on, no. It looks like they forgot the ribbon.
All right. Okay.
All right. Now let's check out the Sabertooth, because no epic gaming build can go without looking at the Sabertooth. And since this is an epic build, we got to check out the Sabertooth.
You know, when I was at CES, MSI put on this huge presentation, and they were all like, this is military-grade components. They'll last forever. All of our, capacitors are, 7 times greater than the competition in terms of this and that and this and... What?
That is a pricey motherboard.
$400. What is that?
Thunderbolt, a PCIe Thunderbolt extension with 2 display ports and 2 Thunderbolt ports. That's awesome.
That's cool.
So pretty much this is like a gimmick looking motherboard to me. It looks like they're bundling a bunch of stuff and giving you the same old motherboard again. It's my personal opinion. I'm trying to find this. They just came out with a new Sabertooth. There we go. It might only be Z87.
On Tony Mac's recommended builds, the only thing they have is gigabyte models.
Well, they are the easiest too. They're almost native even. Like you just put in your Hackintosh USB and Hackintosh. What happened to the good old days? When staring at your computer for hours resulted in a Hackintosh.
If anybody in the comments can find it, I'm trying to find the smallest motherboard with Thunderbolt ports on it. Because I want to build a little tiny Mac Pro.
What we could do is PCIe it.
They don't make PCIe Thunderbolt expansion cards yet.
We just seen Asus has one.
Only works with that motherboard. Because there was a big discussion on this. It's like, but they make them. I've seen them. Asus has them, right? Like, they only work with the motherboard they're made for. Like, oh, that's stupid.
So, you can't build a gaming computer without talking about the Asus Sabertooth. It's been a leader in the gaming industry.
Trying to cover up its ugly components.
But it's one of the only motherboards that does it, and it's acting like a giant heatsink. And if you look at the way it's built, the processor fan actually sends air underneath all of the heatsink.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's forcing air in, and it's actually forcing air out through the back of the...
How dusty do you think it gets underneath that cover?
It is removable. And it's removable by 3 screws, I believe.
Huh.
There's this one right here, right there, and right there.
Huh.
And it's I think it's plastic.
Okay, so which one are we going to go with?
Well, right now, looking at all of our choices, and so on the motherboard, do we want to sacrifice price for performance, or do we want to just go to the wall on the motherboard?
I don't know, $400 is a lot of money to spend on a motherboard.
Especially when the Sabertooth is cheaper.
How much is the Sabertooth?
$248.
This is the Sabertooth?
Yep.
Any disadvantage to the Sabertooth? It's got less expansion ports, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes it does. And it doesn't come with the gimmick Thunderbolt, PCIe, or the terabyte SSD external hard drive that it came with. But that's really...
Wait, terabyte SSD?
Yeah, the other one came with a external terabyte SSD. That's why I said it was a gimmick. It's a $400, it's like a $250 motherboard they're throwing $150 worth of parts in with so they can make it more expensive. That's why I keep calling it.
Wait, how much of big of an SSD does it come with?
I thought it said it was a terabyte.
Because a terabyte SSD is still like $350, or no, it's like $500 for a terabyte. Can't be that big. What are they?
External hard drive.
What?
Because if that's just the...
It can't be an SSD. Just gonna be a hard drive, right? Well, look at the specs. What does it say it is?
Wow, it's got 6 USB 3.0s.
Nice. What are those things?
You know what they are? One is an antenna, and the other one is 2 extra USB 3.0s. Because read on board, 4 USB 3.0s, 4 USB 2.0s, and then it says 6 USB 3.0s.
Where'd you see something about an SSD?
I could have swore that's what it said in that little...
It said
blurb.
it did a really fast SSD, but I don't understand how that works.
10 gigs, right?
Yeah, 10 gig transfer rate. Yeah, 10 gig,
Yep.
10 gig SATA.
6 gigs.
Oh, no, there's 10 SATA ports. Holy crap, 10 SATA ports?
So, this would be a better motherboard for video editing and...
Yeah, if you're trying to build a media server or like a FreeNAS box or something where you're going to hook up a crap ton of hard drives or SSDs.
This is definitely... This is really not the motherboard for us.
This person's not going to ever use any display port or Thunderbolt, so we'll just go with the... Unless you're looking up an Apple Cinema display. Go with the Sabertooth, right?
And that's why this is the hardest part of a computer build for me is it's you got to sacrifice.
Spent 25 minutes looking for a motherboard.
All right. So the Sabertooth it is. The Sabertooth doesn't have VGA. Okay. Now on to memory. So do you think memory is really vital to be 2400 megahertz? Do you think it's really necessary for it to be that fast?
I think no. I mean, if you want to go for the best of the best and the fastest of the fastest, you want to get that extra frame per second, or you go for the fastest memory.
But we do want that extra frame per second. We're building a future-proof computer. So this is
how much
our
is the price
reasoning.
difference? Like $10 or something for on an 8 gig
almost
stick.
$30, isn't it?
Really?
Let's see, where's
I know, I don't think there's that much of a difference nowadays, but I remember when the RAM speeds changed. That's what made it feel like it was a fast computer. The snap and the pop when applications load and things. Like once they're already in memory, like switching between them and stuff. Like I can't remember what the megahertz speed. It was like difference between like 400 megahertz RAM and 800 megahertz RAM or something. It felt faster.
So it looks like it's about a $40 price difference. So it's almost a whole nother stick of RAM price difference.
Oh, that's tough.
And I mean, you could go with the Vengeance, which is, and they're not even running 16, they're running 18.
See,
66.
the thing is, it's not even double the speed. My thinking and my theory is you can't tell the difference on something unless it's double. If it's less than double, it's like, I don't know. I'd still go with the more expensive one.
Okay, let me find the Dominators real quick. Dominator Platinum. Da-da-da-da! Fancy.
Whoa. No, not those guys. Those aren't EEC, are they?
These are the big daddy of RAM right now.
Latency 10. 10, 12, 12, 31 timing.
Look at the voltage.
1.65V.
It's almost, well, 1.35 is what 16, most 16s are at.
Huh.
So it's almost 0.30 volts higher of the market. So you need to take that into
Wait, isn't all the voltage all the same for the speed of RAM? Don't they have to all operate on that particular voltage?
Yeah, I was just bringing up the voltage for power consumption reasons.
Okay.
But $274, which is $100 more expensive than
Dang.
the next best one. But these ones are cool. They have an LED at the top of them with cool little lights. But it uses your resources, so it's kind of redundant.
I think that's kind of excess.
Well, it's redundant if it's using your resources and you bought the RAM because it's the fastest, and the light's not blinking on it or slowing it down.
I doubt that makes any difference. I think the lights blinking are just monitoring the voltage going through, or something.
Yeah. It's lost voltage though.
No. Go down a step.
All right.
That's just
No platinums then.
stupid. Blinking LEDs on your RAM.
Here's the ones without the blinking LEDs, and they're slower.
What?
Yep, it's the 1866.
Oh.
And
That's
$200 is fair for RAM. Like,
for 16 gigs?
that's what I spent on my RAM.
Oh, that's not bad.
I mean, it is for a high-end gaming
That's
rig.
You know how much
But-
I spent for the first set of RAM that I bought? I bought a gigabyte of RAM for an Amiga 4000,
Here we go. $1,000 worth of RAM.
and it was $1,000 for 1 gig.
64 gigs. $889.
Wow.
It's only a few motherboards you can even put that
I can
on.
hold 4 or 8 of those.
Well, I think it's mainly for like the new 1011 or 2011s that are running the Exxon 18 core computers that have dual CPU sockets and dual RAM sockets. Or doesn't the Pro Mac, the new Pro Mac, that runs at 60? You can put up to 64 gigs in that RAM.
Yeah, it's all soldered on there, isn't it? Or no, they have modules.
I didn't think it was soldered. I was like, wait, is it? So here we got 32 for $400, but again, that's pretty outrageous.
Yeah, you could probably swing that though for this build.
But look at it's kind of redundant because this is only $1,600 and it's $79 more than just purchasing the 1866s for $400 even, and you're getting the same amount. You're getting 32 gigs, but you're getting 32 gigs at 1866 instead of 1600.
Oh.
And it's cheaper.
Well, then do that.
All right, so that's what we're gonna do.
Just get two sets of those guys.
Yep.
You're gonna just have 32 gigs of RAM. That may be a bit, but yeah, you never know.
Future-proof though, you know, like look at Titanfall.
If you're running After Effects,
yeah,
everything runs in RAM. So you want as much as you can get. Everything buffers and preloads into RAM. So.
Okay. So next.
Titanfall max settings.
4K Titanfall. So that's something to talk about later. But all right. So Seagate versus WD on hybrid SSDs.
Hybrid
SSDs. What's your
SSDs.
opinion on those?
I have yet to actually try one, but from what I hear, they're awesome compared to a regular hard drive. Because they build the smaller portions in SSD, so they'll load like the OS, or they have basically like a cache almost where the frequently used things they get defragged to the SSD side of things, and then your regular hard drive is kind of like your videos and other stuff. So they're good. They're not a bad idea.
So my thought on it is I would love to try and put one of these in RAID 10 or even RAID 5.
I don't think it's a good idea.
It would be fun though.
I don't think it works that way at all. I think it would not work at all.
Partition, man. Partition.
I know. I haven't tried one, but from what I've heard, you can like partition out just the SSD side of it. But yeah, they're not made to work that way, man. I think if you ended up doing that, it would just end up using the hard drive side of it. Or you might be able to create 2 RAIDs, one with the SSD side, one with the hard drive side. It's not.
So what's your take on Seagate's SSDs? Like, because I haven't heard much about Seagate in the SSD
I've never heard of them. I bet they're a rebranded other brand.
You've never heard of Seagate?
Not doing SSDs.
Oh,
they're the number 1 hard drive manufacturer.
I know that's kind of wild.
They have pixie dust on their platters, man.
Why? Come on, Seagate. We need some more SSDs.
They're late to the game.
And they're slower.
Are they?
Yeah, from what I hear, they're slower. And I was a huge Seagate fan, like Seagate Blacks, and all my computers until SSDs came out.
Yeah, I had Seagates for the longest time, and then the hard drives got fast enough that I ended up going to like cheap eco Western Digitals. But SSDs, I've been really liking the Samsungs. Apparently the Intels are good.
For the price, Samsung is awesome. Intel's, I think the new Intel SSDs are awesome. But they're artistically better than all the other hard drives, in my opinion. But they just look gorgeous when your SSD's shining at you off the reflection of your fan. That's what you're paying the extra $30 for, is the shiny case.
Huh.
480 gigabyte SSD from Seagate.
I don't know, man. I've never gone to Seagates before. I don't trust them yet.
Yeah, they're pretty
If you
scary.
lose your data on an SSD, it's gone.
Yeah,
It's not coming back.
You're gonna need a time machine to get your data back. Has two meanings.
Oh, I hate the new Windows 8 version of Time Machine. I can't remember what it's called now. It's called File History. But it is Time Machine. But they hid and make it hard to use the old school Windows backup utility. It's like not there anymore like it used to be. Instead, they basically do Time Machine. So it sets up an an external disk to constantly back up your files and all the history of your files. So it is Time Machine, so you can go back to an older version of your file. But I was trying to back up a laptop on Windows 8.1, and they got rid of the regular backup way, and you had to do it through a command prompt, and it sucked. Anyways.
Oh man, I almost sneezed.
I eventually got it
so
working, but
I want to kind of do a side-by-side of the Evo versus the Intel.
okay.
That didn't help me. I'm trying to find the specs for this. There we go. So, all right.
Sustained read, 540 megs.
540.
Right, 490. Which one's that? The Seagate?
This is the Intel versus
Oh, the Intel.
the Samsung Evo.
Oh, the Evo's faster.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
The Intel's faster. It's got
On
write
what?
speeds of 490, and it's only got write speeds of 410.
520 on the which model?
Oh, I guess that would help, wouldn't it? The 240.
So you're looking at the 240
Yep,
versus the
so
250.
It is faster.
It's faster. The Samsung is faster.
And more affordable.
Oh, but look at the what is the IOPS things?
They're still better.
Oh, they're better.
On the Samsung.
Oh, hell, go with the Samsung then. That's how many times you can write to the thing before it dies, right?
Yeah, that's your random write.
Huh.
And
Sorry, Intel, you're losing a battle here to Samsung. You know why I think Samsungs are best, other than just the performance. They make the RAM chips for everything. The NAND flash, the type of SSDs that are inside of everything. So like your iPhones and iPads and just everything. I mean, that's like what they do. That is their thing. They make these things. So they know how to do it right.
would you recommend putting games on an SSD?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fast. In fact, if you want to pop one of these bad boys in a PlayStation 4, they'll load way faster. But you gotta invest in the games are massive, so you gotta invest in like a terabyte one to make it worth it. So you're gonna pay another, $400 for a hard drive, which you just paid for your PS4 to upgrade it to a terabyte SSD. Although, from what I've read, the just upgrading to like a terabyte hard drive that's a hybrid will give you very similar performance, and they're only like $100.
This is kind of scary to me. Is the request price for a 750?
Dude, that's scary. So what about the 512? I think that's the sweet spot right now in the SSDs, isn't it?
And you know, I have this exact SSD, and I've had zero problems with it at all, and I've already wiped it like at least 20
Oh yeah,
times.
so it's $250 for a 500 gigabyte. So that's, you're looking at what?
Probably about 400.
Is it 50 cents a gig now?
That's
not bad.
pretty close. Probably like around 57 cents. Just look at, we're like at 54. So, well, I guess it'd be 50 cents plus tax. 50 cents a gig plus tax.
You don't pay tax.
The computer already has tax on it, though.
Anyways, they're dropping. It's like half the price it was 6 months ago.
Our list is fully starting to go with brand names now. It's kind of cool. All right, so now here's another challenge.
Another marathon episode, 40 minutes. Okay.
Oh, we're not even a quarter of the way through yet. No, we're about halfway. Sorry, people. I didn't mean to scare you. All right, so this one should actually be pretty easy for us because you have the GTX or you have the ATI. And that's pretty much where you're at right now. You have the 770, 780.
Well, it's not ATI, it's AMD now.
Oh, AMD.
Are they Radeon still?
I think so. I think it's... Let's check out the Sapphire one real quick. They'll tell us. Yep, it is Radeon. So at least they kept it Radeon. And this is another one where AMD is cheaper. But the thing that really irks me about the AMD video cards, because I'd love to be able to use the AMD video cards because they're cheaper, they're bigger. They're not better, but they are bigger. The end support is worthless.
Really?
Yeah, if you need a driver, you're going to be searching. You can't just go to their website and find it, and it downloads all easy.
Their drivers always kind of sucked.
And they crash. They're crash happy. I mean, while playing a low graphics game on a high-end card.
I remember they did some sneaky stuff. One of their high-end cards in November, I can't remember the model, they sent reviewers a version of it with drivers that had the fans go faster so it could be run at a higher clock speed. So at the time, it was a faster performer than like the Titan, their high-end AMD card at the time. And then when they shipped it with a firmware with a lower fan speed because it was too noisy. And so people weren't getting the same benchmarks that all the reviewers got that gave a review saying it was the fastest card. So it was a big old thing.
Yeah, I could see where.
They're doing that all the time too. Like they'll purposely make their GPUs like optimized for benchmarks, so it'll have the fastest speed on the benchmark.
All right, so
that looks cool.
This is one of my favorite cards. It's only the 760 though.
It's not bad though.
Running an SLI, we could do 2 of them at 8 gigs.
That would be very impressive.
Okay, so here we go.
That'd be $600 though. What kind of card can you get for $600?
Not a Titan, and the Titan's only 6 gig.
And
but it does have 3.
The Titan 6 gig, but what we want to look at is the.
It has 352.
How many shader processors does it do? Doesn't say.
They don't want you to know.
Because that's kind of like if you're doing like GPU, like OpenCL or where it's actually using the GPU to do CPU type processing. All right, yeah. Usually they rate it at that. Well, which one is this again?
This is the Asus.
It's a GTX 760.
Yep. That's super high priced for 760.
Oh yeah, they also have physics built into NVIDIA stuff too.
And then they have, what was it, IFX? Or no, IFX.
Adaptive
No,
VSync.
Ifinity is what it is for AMD.
Oh, huh.
So I like the EVGA cards, me personally, but
You get the super clocked ones. That's always weird how they sell overclocked ones, I think.
the 384-bit GDDR5 is $500, and it's only a 3 gig. 2,304 CUDA cores.
How many? 3,000?
2,304. It's twice as much as that other one for $100 more.
There you go. So that's what you got to look for.
And like for $100, you're losing almost half,
Yeah, so it's
and
not,
gaining 1 gig and losing your.
yeah, so it's not worth getting 2 of those other ones when you could just pay the $100 and get one of the.
Well, this is only a 3 gig, though.
Yeah, but
So it's
if you understand how SLI works,
Yeah.
there's no real advantage to putting 2 of them in there because it just splits the
Exactly.
rendering to half the screen. So each card can still only use whatever that card is. It has to load. It has to load all the textures to each card. So even though you might have 6 gigs, each card can still only use 3 of those gigs.
Exactly.
So you don't gain any memory by doing that.
You might gain like 3 frames per second.
Well,
And you'll be able to overclock them.
you'll gain frame rate, but the only thing that the RAM does on the video card is it loads all your textures and geometry and everything that's processing, right?
Right.
It doesn't change the speed of it.
It's actually your bits that make your
Yeah,
video card faster. CUDA cores.
The CUDA cores are your GPU shaders, or they call them different things. The CUDA is a
Stream processors, an AM, ATI.
An NVIDIA thing. That's what they call them. But they're the shading processors or whatever. It's these stream processors is what they call it on that one.
512 bit.
512-bit.
It's the 384.
Yeah, so
This is more or less the one I would want to go with.
yeah.
And it's awesome.
Up to 4 monitors. I want one.
Now we could go with the Titan. We should go with the
How
Titan.
many cores how many streaming cores or CUDA cores or whatever the hell they want to call it have on the Titan? And how many did this one have? It had 2,200 or something?
2,304, I believe.
Okay.
2,304.
Okay. $2,880.
880.
Not worth the money, man.
Now let's look at my.
Is that what you
Titan.
bought?
No, I wish, but that's what I wanted to buy.
You know what that is?
It's pretty much just an SLI.
It's SLI on one card.
Yeah,
I always think that's kind of weird.
but it's 768-bit, and it's running 5,700.
You know, when they say that bit, like the 768-bit and stuff, do you remember the TurboGrafx 16?
Yeah.
You know you know what that was?
What's that?
Or no, well, yeah, there was the TurboGrafx 16, which was actually an 8-bit system, but it had 2 8-bit processors on it, so they called it a 16-bit system. I think that was what TurboGrafx 16 was. And so the games were, they were better than a Super Nintendo, but they weren't as good as like a Sega Genesis or a Super Nintendo. And then there was the Atari Jaguar 64, and that was another hacked up. It was actually 232. They're counting the GPU instead of the CPU, so it wasn't actually a 64-bit system at all. That's what this is. When they stack up multiple cards and cores, and they just kind of add up the bits and.
Pretty much all they did with this one is they put the cards in SLI, put a PCIe converter that's powered off of the main logic board, and then it's two Titan motherboard or two Titan.
The
logic
only reason
boards.
you'd want to do this is if you really wanted to go all out and you didn't have enough. If you wanted to do more SLIs.
Yeah.
Than your motherboard could physically handle.
So
if you were trying to build a small system.
Yeah, if you only had 2 video cards and you wanted 24 gigs and 10,000
for that price, you can buy 3 of them, can't you? Almost?
Yeah, you can. They're $1,200 a piece.
Yeah. So that's just ridiculous. You're better off buying 2. Yeah,
I don't even have the one I have. Oh,
there
it is.
That's the price of being, top of the line.
Here's the one I have.
But this is my rule here. It's not double the performance for 3 times the price. What was the other one we were looking at?
It was $2,304.
What was the cost of it? It was
$500.
Was it
$499?
Oh, $499. Okay, well, so this is double the cost, but it's not double the performance.
It's double the onboard memory, though.
It is double the RAM. Okay.
The dedicated video memory.
That's true. But the actual processing power of it's like a third better, maybe?
Plus, it doesn't come with Watch Dogs free.
Oh, there you go, $50, Watch Dogs. I don't know, but if you want to go out, go Titan.
Yeah, I love it. There's nothing it won't play. It's future-proof, probably for a year.
Yeah, future-proof for a whole year.
Until it starts
That's
getting
saying something.
cheap and small. Okay,
yep, it gives you the performance of an Xbox One. Actually, the Xbox and PS4s are basically, they're the AMDs. They're AMD processors and they're AMD video cards, and they're that integrated chip.
Yeah, I noticed that when I took my Xbox 360 apart. They got that the little chip with the little circle at the top and says ATI inside the circle.
Yeah.
The little
the processors on those were actually PowerPCs on the 360 and the kind of the PS3. It was the cell processor was a PowerPC based.
Was it the 670? Or 760, right?
760. All right, so that's what we're gonna get. 760 then, for $500 with
Yep.
Watch Dogs.
With Watch Dogs.
Wait, no, you had something better than that, than the 760, because this is only $250.
Yeah, that one's only 256-bit. So the CUDA cores are only 960.
This one says 1152. The one you were looking at had double that, huh?
Yeah, it was where'd it go?
Are you sure it was a 760, not the next one up? Oh, there they are.
Yeah, here it is, I think.
I thought you said it was $499.
Yeah, it is. But this is Newegg. They'll post the same thing with different prices on it.
Huh.
Damn you, Newegg.
All right, so one of the higher end 760s, right?
But yeah, 2304 for the CUDA cores. It's pretty much the one. Yeah. But all right, now to the cases. Picking a case is more, I guess, cosmetic than anything.
Basically, you could just lay the components on the desk and it'd work just the same.
That's what benchmarkers do. I mean, if you do want to get hardcore into making sure your computer's optimum for cooling, And the pressure of your case, is that what they call it?
Oh, yeah.
The negative pressure or positive pressure.
Right. Hey, I see there's 4 people watching this. Comment, man. What are your thoughts? Are we just, do we know what we're talking about? Do you care? What do you think in a case? What do you want to get? Do you want to have the fins and the alien head on it and the weird bulkiness, or just want something with a handle?
Like this case here is good on so many levels that I think there's only one case out there that competes with it. It is huge. If you're looking for a gaming rig, you can't beat this one, really. It has a spot for your authenticator. I mean, it comes with 2 120mm fans at the top with radiator brackets for your liquid cooling systems. It's got your ports to re-loop so that you can go down to your video cards without going over your processor with water.
That's cool.
And it's got about 30 or no, I don't know, about 15 hard drive slots, and it is one of the only cases that has an SSD 2.5 rack on it.
I think it's overkill, but if you want to have enough room for everything, it's just the case to get. I personally like trying to make them as small as I can to fit everything in there, even though it's not the most efficient for cooling.
Well, if you're liquid cooling and you only have one video card, I don't see the problem in a small case, because you can get a self-contained Corsair for $109, and then you could overclock a little mini guy and blow this one out of the water if it ain't.
But if you want to impress somebody, be like, "This is my gaming rig. This is the case."
Yeah, this case is gorgeous in person. I think this is the case we should go with.
Okay, let's do it.
Now we need to take all of that
We gotta power this stuff.
and we gotta. All right. We could get complicated and do some math here and figure out exactly how many volts or watts we need. But
you can always have more than you need, but you're gonna run into problems if you don't have enough.
Yeah, exactly. So my rule of thumb is always get 100 more watts than you need, because
that's a good rule.
you're going to upgrade.
And the other thing you need to look at on these is what is their sustained maximum wattage.
Yeah, like your usage too, and then your spike usage.
Because what they'll rate usually on the power supplies is their max, but it's not the sustained. Same thing with power inverters.
That was a good example there. It was the Corsair AX12i is actually its peak is 1200, but it actually runs best at 1000.
When it's getting up to 1200, that reminds me of like a space heater. Because my space heater has a 1200 as a setting for like 600 watts or 1200 watts.
and there's one thing some people don't understand is if you have a 1200 watt power supply but you're only using 400 watts, you are only using 400 watts. It is not using the full 1200 watts unless you are using it. So don't think just because you bought a 1200 watt power supply, your power bill is going to go up that much, because if you're still using all the same other parts, then it's going to still be the same as it always was.
You'll actually save money because usually the more expensive, bigger ones are more actually efficient. There's a rate loss because everything in the computer is DC and the thing in your wall is AC, and depending on how efficient the power supply is, there's a certain level of loss, and the better ones have less loss. So that's something to kind of consider.
So I think a 750 is out of the question. What about you?
You don't think it's enough?
32 gigs of RAM.
Okay.
We
only got one graphics card, and we're only putting in.
How much is its?
Wait, did we pick our SSD? We picked, did we?
Yeah, we did pick the SSD. We still have to pick the hard drives.
Okay.
Because we're gonna have to.
Hard drives use more power,
But if we're going, we just go with two 500s, and because they're $150 a piece, and for a normal hard drive.
Yeah.
For a 500 gig normal hard drive. So
They're so cheap, we might as well get. What were the 3 terabyte ones? They were like $100, weren't they?
yeah, they were like 100.
Yeah, let's get two.
$60.
No, not even that. That was for the 4 gigs.
Oh, the hybrids too, even on top of that, right?
Yeah. No, they're way cheaper. I think. Anyways,
All right, back to power.
back to power. I don't know. What 700 would be fine. You don't think?
Let's see how much power this uses.
You almost got 100 watts in the CPU, right? What did the GPU rate?
The GPU is. Nope, that's the right one. Okay, specifications. Oh,
That's megahertz.
it's max resolution.
Oh, yeah, it's 4K.
4K already. 600 watt or greater power supply with a minimum of 42 amps plus 12 volt rail.
Yeah.
Plus our i7 processor.
Well, they're considering that you already have a processor that's probably using at least 50 watts. So I'd say we need to at least get a 750 no matter what. No lower.
And I wish they'd give you the actual specifications.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a...
That thing's a power hungry.
Well, look, it's 4K max resolution out of the box, though.
There's cell phones that can display 4K.
Uncompressed.
So what are our options on power supplies?
So our options, I'm kind of in between Corsair and EVGA because I trust the brand and they have really good return policies. And that's one of the main computer parts that is known for DOAs, is the power supply.
Yeah, they go bad, especially if you got blippy power or unclean power in your neighborhood, which we do where we live. It's really, really bad, actually.
So what's your opinion over Corsair or EVGA?
I've used EVGA, never had a problem.
Yeah,
I've used Corsair, never had a problem. They're both good.
I've never had a problem with either of them. But like the Cool Masters, ironically, aren't very cool. They run really hot. It might have been because I was
Those things are tiny.
overloading
Those are
it.
only 400 watts. Where's the big stuff?
Oh, yeah, I haven't even got that far yet. So.
Did it say we had to use like an 80 plus? Or...
Yeah, the amperage was insane on that video card. Did you see that? They say 42 amps at least. It's insane for a video
42
card.
amps on the plus 12.
Okay, so here's our 1,000 plus, or no, 850 and plus. What
brands are these?
Okay, now we have thousands in here.
I've never had to build anything with 1,000 in it before. It's ridiculous.
Mine's is running 1,000 and I'm using about 850 watts.
Really? Well, you got the Titan in there.
Yeah, and I got liquid cooling system that's being powered off of it.
Oh.
And then I got like 10 case fans.
Your computer uses more power than my electric car. I'm serious. My electric car uses like 1,200 watts to charge.
You know how long it takes my computer to render though? Less time than your car takes to charge. That's saying something these days.
But can your computer go 100 miles an hour?
Virtually. So, I don't know. I really do like the Corsairs, and the Corsairs kind of look better to me than the EVGAs, but...
It looks like a stormtrooper. Water cooling.
We're getting to that. Wrong keyboard.
Yeah.
So this thing's cheaper on Amazon. By $100.
$329 for the power supply?
Future proof though is what we're going for, right? We're looking ahead in time. They're all back there and we're 4K
This is in
up
case
here.
you want to, you're like, you know what? The new Titanfall 2 is coming out, and I got to get me another video card that I can do SLI. And since it's 2 years from now, this video card's only $100 now to get another one. But I've got a power supply, and it can handle a second video card of this power-hungry capacity.
This one isn't even good enough.
What? How many on the 12-volt rail? How many watts did it say it needed?
Oh, on the 12-volt rail, it's got 100 amps. So yeah, it does.
Good.
It is good
That's
enough.
good.
For some reason, I thought it was running.
What did it see? It needed 40?
Yeah, 42. So this one's pretty much overkill.
Yeah, it is.
It's not overkill for running them in SLI though. That's the scary
No.
part. Is it's barely good enough to run them in SLI because you only got 100 amps.
40. You got 20 left over. You couldn't do 3.
Yeah, really couldn't do 3, but
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, if you wanted to add another video card on there later, do the trick.
but that one's a little overkill for our one. So let's go for less money on power supply, more money on
$329.
So
I think the most I've ever spent is like $115 on a power supply. Well, maybe 150.
yeah, the RM850 it's a good. It's the one I took out of my computer and put the big one in. So I actually have this one. But
Was it not enough to run your Titan or what?
no, my computer wouldn't even boot.
Seriously?
Yeah, like the light would come on and it'd spin up and then shut down.
Dang.
My video cooling system, or my cooling system is
This
kind
one
of
looks
outrageous.
cool though.
Yeah, I like the modern
It's
rounded.
quiet and
0 RPM fan mode. It's kind of cool. Where's my amperage?
at 92% efficient. Most stuff's like bragging about just being over 80. Over 80% efficient.
It's ready for 85 watts for the processor. All right, so I think this one is pretty much perfect for us.
All right, let's do it.
All right,
Okay.
water cooling or heat sinking. I guess fan cooling, air cooling.
Yeah, keeping everything cool.
It's kind of a tit for tat.
I don't know, if you want to overclock, water cooling? Liquid cooling?
Yeah, and
I don't know, there's some pretty good air cooling stuff out.
yet the air, you can get your computer pretty cold with air cooling system, but see, it's hard for me to bring myself to like buy one of these because I can go buy a radiator and I can go buy a pump and go buy some aquarium tubing and build my own custom liquid cooling system for a good price, you know, and it's really, I can't see it. These things are notorious for these little wires right here.
Oh, really?
Like this only has one wire. It's just one send wire, and if that wire comes undone, it can no longer read the temperature of your processor.
Huh.
And the other one's just to power it.
That's cool that it's a little self-contained unit, though.
Yeah, and you never have to refill it.
Only for your CPU, huh?
Yeah, that's another big catcher, and that's where I think they.
Do they have one that also does the GPU?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm just not sure which one it is. Actually, I don't think they do in this one. But if you want my personal advice, it would be, if you're going liquid cooling, build it yourself because you know what you need. They don't know you have 3 video cards. They're trying to make an end user plug and play device is what they're trying to do. And you can't do that with liquid cooling. You can and you can't. I mean, it's just not worth it. Yeah, I mean, you can pay $100 and get the liquid cooling, but you got to have the case that's big enough for the radiator and the fans, and then it's where you mounted the radiator has to be close enough to your CPU because these hoses they give you aren't long at all, and you can cut them, but you risk a leak, and if you
it's a sealed system.
It's just a lot more productive and better to either build your own water cooling system, which Amazon now sells parts, individual parts like the elbows, the containers, and everything, the reservoir.
I remember back in the day, the system fans that came on the CPU were just notoriously bad. They're just garbage. You just throw them away and you just buy any third party one would be better than the stock one.
AMD.
But lately, I don't know. I mean, the stuff that comes on the Intel ones isn't that half bad.
Yeah. Did you know I got my processor to run stably at 3.9 running the stock fan? And I think I only went up like maybe 12 degrees on it, which is awesome, really. But once I breached 4, it got hot.
So you had to switch to a liquid cooling system?
Yeah, and it's a nice liquid cooling system. I got it running through a reservoir, 2 pumps. I got one sucking.
So what do you think for this build, though?
I'm thinking the V8. Right. I love the V8 just because it's quiet. It's like super quiet and super efficient.
And it looks like an engine.
Yeah, I mean it looks cool. I mean it is pretty big though.
You have to have a big case.
Yeah, keep that in mind, is that it is a big...
And you got to make sure on your motherboard that there's not going to be any...
Yeah, like if your RAM chips are too close to your processor. But this is a pretty awesome heatsink right here. It works awesome. I've used it on just about all my other computer builds that were air-cooled.
Cool.
So what about system fans then, since we're going, are we going to go 120 or 240? Or, since we got a huge case, we could technically put a 240 on the
huge
window. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, my recommendation is go as big as you can. Whatever you can physically fit, the bigger the better, because you can run it at a lower RPM and it's not as loud.
Oh, so I just ordered some new fans for my computer, and I wanted to share them with you guys. So, one second. Let me find them real quick. But they're amazing. They're super, super, super effective, but silent.
Oh, that's cool.
You can't hear them at all. Like, I had to double check to make sure they were actually spitting.
Huh.
Let me see, where'd they go? And they were a really weird brand, and I was kind of hesitant to even getting them. But they had a performance version of it.
Huh.
And these, where are they? Yeah, these fans right here are die happy. Both of the ones my case came with died.
Oh, that sucks.
Like, they just stopped spinning one day, and that's why I had to replace my fans.
Weird. So the Cage Raccoon says, can't go wrong with air cooling. Heatsink won't crap out on you like an AIO cooler.
All in one.
Gotcha. It's weird. Double comments. All right. What? Okay. So,
Cool.
So third-party fans for the case.
Yeah, I'd recommend them highly.
All right. What else we got?
I'm trying to find
Going on an hour and a half here.
That's the last part.
Is it?
Yep.
All right. What about optical drive? Worth it anymore? Do you need one?
And that's debatable.
Toss a Blu-ray in there just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Then if you want to back up 50 gigs, you can.
Yeah, Blu-ray double dual layer burner.
Yeah. Actually, they've got quad layer ones now, don't they?
Yeah, I did see that on Twitter.
That's tempting because that can back up. You could actually back up your whole system to a 200 gigabyte drive or disk.
I thought it was only
Or is it 100?
it's 120 gigs, right?
It's 120.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 30 times 4, right? Because the standard Blu-ray holds 30, dual layer holds 60, 90, 120.
Oh, okay. Sounds right. I thought it was 25 and 50.
You might be right. Either way, I was close.
It's closer to 100 gigs. I remember when they first came out, they were like, well, if we do multiple layers, we have a disk running on a beta in a lab that does 200 gigabytes. And they're like, and all the current drives will be able to play it.
There we go, with 3D playback.
It's more of a software thing. Wait, so what? No, this just does double layer. Oh no, write and read quad, triple, and double. So it does quads. What is the quad? Blu-ray capacity.
Well, I'm pretty sure it'll tell us.
But they're talking about using
There you go.
quads to do 4K.
Yep, 25 gigs for each layer. So, what? Yeah, see, look. In real capacity is 128 gigs.
Yeah, it says 128.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's
If it's 25
it's
per layer,
usable,
how does
though.
that work?
It's usable. So there's like
Oh,
it must be sanctioning some off or something, unless you're using the full-blown quad.
100. No, it's a 100 gigabyte triple layer and 128 quad layer. What?
How does that make sense?
A dual Blu-ray layer, 50 gigabyte discs are under $5. Single layer are now under $1. What the heck are they talking about? You have to have a Blu-ray XL computer drive to read the new triple and quad layer.
BDXL,
Yeah.
ultimate capacity,
Weird.
128 gigabytes.
I don't know. There's the new layers must be compacted a little bit tighter or something. They're able
Yeah.
to get more data on them. Their math does not add up though.
Well,
we go 25, we go 50, then we go 100.
And we go 128.
Then we go 128. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's like, well, wait a second. So if you add one more layer that gives you another 50 gigs, if you add another layer, shouldn't it give you
Yeah.
200?
Look, it says 20, the equivalency of 27 standard DVDs or 5 single-layer Blu-rays. So see, even they say their math doesn't make sense. We're going to call it quad, but it's actually 5 layers. That's what I almost bet it is.
It doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's making my brain hurt.
I bet you it's just 5 layers.
Anyways,
and they're calling it quad.
if you want the capacity to burn an optical disc that's massive, this is the way to go. How much is the thing?
It's actually pretty reasonable. I mean, not for a disc drive, but price-wise, it's $117.
117. For $17, you can get a regular DVD drive.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like,
for $69, you can get a Blu-ray burner
yeah,
reader.
I don't know.
Blu-ray's old news.
I don't know, but if you want to have the latest and greatest, this is it. Get a
Yep.
quad Blu-ray BDXL.
So what about accessories? Should we go over some accessories, or we can save that for next?
Obviously-
we can save that when we're actually putting it together. We got to leave them a little bit of a
Okay.
surprise.
Yeah, that sounds good. Unless there's, look at the comments here, unless there's anything new, it was really late. we're going on an hour and a half show here. Yeah, so the only thing we didn't cover is like input devices and monitors. So we'll leave that for next week, and we'll start putting the thing together, right?
Yeah.
We should have all the components in next week.
Yeah, we want to do a live build for you guys.
And
so.
stay tuned, subscribe to the feed, because we're going to do the live build as soon as we get everything. So that may actually be before next Wednesday when we do our normal show.
It's going to be fun.
Please subscribe to the feed. I'm at Walking Crow on Twitter.
I'm at Dr. Ponzu.
We'll see you guys next week
Have a
or
good night.
sooner.